Jeremy Pruitt in a little bit of hot water. Unbelievable. All right. Right around $60,000 of illegal benefits was reported. There's a lot of things going on right here, but I can't believe some of the details in this case. Carl, I'm going to come to you first. Jeremy Pruitt, I mean, it looked like things were going well for him in Tennessee at one point. He gets fired, and now all of this comes out. First, your reaction to this news with the latest allegations with Tennessee.
You know, a college coach told me one time at a hotel in Memphis in 2007, it's not against the law, it's just against the rules. So it can't be that big of a deal, right? I mean, when I hear what happened, if these allegations are true, then it is problematic. But I think that we have to look into see some of this stuff just seems completely unreal. I mean, I want more information, as crazy as that sounds. But this, Blake, this cannot have happened. I go to McDonald's all the time. Nobody's ever put money in my bag at McDonald's. And I've been all over the country with all kind of prospects. This is really, really hard for me to believe that any of this took place. Blake, tell me about it.
Yeah, I'm disappointed that we didn't take a visit to Tennessee and go visit McDonald's if these allegations are true. But it is a wild thing to read. It kind of gives me old Southwest Conference 1970, 1980 vibes. I'm waiting for the gold Trans Am to appear in the story somewhere. But if these allegations are true, I mean, Jeremy Pruitt's days of coaching college football are over. I'd love to hear what he has to say about it, but it's just a wild deal, just the different details about it. I mean, his wife, if what they said was true, I mean, she was a compliance at 3 different schools at Florida State, Troy, and Oklahoma. So that just adds another mystery to the whole deal. But I mean, I would love to know. I'd love to hear him come out and say, but I mean, they fired him with cause. They're withholding $12.6 million that it doesn't look like they have any plans on paying him. And, you know, bringing kids and families in during the pandemic, if that's true, it was a big no-no back then. And just some of the, you know, taking people to a nail salon and stuff like that. It's just bizarre. But they've self-imposed. It sounds like Tennessee's done a pretty good job of self-imposing some scholarship reductions. I think they reduced 12 scholarships. And when you really look at it, I mean, Josh Heupel, for what he did there last year, makes this even more incredible, in my opinion, on what a great job he's done, because you know, that program was nearing kind of the bottom of the barrel, and he really resurrected the program, and they have a chance to have a really good season this year.
I don't know if he'll be completely done with college football. We've had precedents and some things that have happened in college basketball where guys have gotten really long show causes. So he may get a show cause and be out for a while. And then, and that could be 5 years, it could be 10 years, you know, you never know how long they go. And then they may give him an opportunity to get back in. But when you're talking about the COVID thing, everybody knew why COVID was going on, that you weren't supposed to have kids on campus. If that's true, that's something that you took a really big chance at. And that was a huge no-no in it. And Blake, you know, because you mentioned the old Southwest Conference. Now, I heard a rumor from a good friend of mine that's a close source in Texas that said when you were a recruit and you were coming out, that the University of Texas gave you 40 grand to get a hamburger and told you to keep the change.
I wish that's true. I wish I'd been a better player to do that. But, you know, I think Pruitt, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, his record at Tennessee was 16-19. He was 10-16 versus the SEC. So it didn't exactly light the college football world on fire. I know he's a good defensive mind. He coached some good defenses at Florida State and Alabama. And I know he's a good football coach, but my guess is his future is probably in high school football, and probably go down that lane. He made $12 million, you know, roughly at Tennessee in the 3 years he was there. So I'll be curious to see what happens with him, but I just can't imagine a college football program is going to touch him if these allegations are true. Maybe if they're not, then he'll be vindicated and he'll have a chance to maybe get back in the game.
And in almost a rare occurrence from the NCAA, it doesn't seem like they've done much to Tennessee or any of the players that have been involved in this. They're really throwing the book completely at Jeremy Pruitt, which is not typically what happens. So I think that's something to take note of as well.
Yeah, they seem to always punish the people that aren't there that did the violations, and in the past that's always been true. I know there's rumors that Tennessee might be banned from a bowl game this year. I don't know if that's true or not, but I've heard those rumors. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully the players there are not punished, but the NCAA's precedence in the past has been to do that. So with the NIL and the changing landscape of college football, maybe they'll just give him a slap on the wrist and put it on Pruitt and the other coaches that were involved in this.
The timing of this, gentleman, is very, very interesting considering SEC Media Days was just last week. But it's interesting that you mentioned Josh Heupel going into 2022 after a successful season last fall. Do you think something like this can overshadow the current progress made by the Tennessee football program? Carl, I'll go to you first since you brought that up.
Well, I think it only overshadows it depending on if it really penalizes the team. I know Blake said, I think they hit him with 12 scholarships. Is that all at once, or is that over a period of time? Josh Heupel seems to have that thing going in the right direction. He's had a great recruiting class so far. I don't think it affects him at all. It seems like he has people in the state more excited about Tennessee football than they have been since Phil Fulmer was coaching.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be a huge factor. Like Carl said, if they do get imposed a bowl ban, then that's obviously a big deal. But I mean, Auburn did it with Bowden not too long ago, and they ran the table. So I mean, they proved that they can do it with distraction. So I think Tennessee is going to have a good year this year. Their schedule's very tough. They got a very hard schedule. So it'll be interesting to see how they do with that. But if they can stay healthy and keep everybody upright, I think the future is bright in Tennessee. And I think Josh Heupel, especially looking at this, what he did last year, is incredible. And they're definitely building something in Knoxville.
And before we move on, guys, I gotta ask because I know Carl brought this up. Is he's never been to McDonald's where he would actually have money in a bag. Blake, I'm assuming you never have either. So what would you guys do in this situation? Blake, I'll go to you first. I mean, this is kind of wild. I mean, we know about NIL stuff now, and it's obviously more legal or it's completely legal depending upon where you are. But what would happen? What is your reaction when you guys would see something like this? Say if you were playing at Tennessee or even any other school where you're going to a fast food place and you're saying, "Oh, there's $40,000 in that bag."
Well, the first thing I do is I keep my mouth shut because the more people that know about it, the more chance it gets out there. And so, that's the problem today is you cannot hide with social media. These kids, I mean, most of these kids probably didn't even go to Tennessee. And so you end up having a problem where kids talk, hey, go visit Tennessee, they'll pay you, or what, if that's true, then it just becomes a huge problem. And you're not going to be able to keep, people's mouths shut on talking about what they got, how they did it and all the different circumstances. So I think it's just impossible these days to keep things a secret because the word's going to get out.
What I've always told my players that were dealing with big time recruiting is don't put yourself in a situation where any scandal could come out and it can involve you. It can be very enticing to guys at time to take that money, but you got to remember, like something Blake just said, the more people know about things, people talk about things and loose lips sink ships. And I always tell guys this, remember when you're dealing with recruiting, never trust the guy that's driving you around in town, or don't trust anybody that's sitting in the same room with you. You better keep your mouth shut and deal with your business accordingly.